Writing stuff down has changed my life. 4 years ago, I began journaling, and since then, it has helped shape my future and sharpen my mind. So, get this, people who track their progress are 42% more likely to crush their goals, and journaling can help improve our memories by up to about 50%. So, it's this that got me started. I didn't like where my life was headed. I wasn't any longer confident in the person I was becoming. And I wanted to be able to track and monitor my progress. I needed a path to improve. So, grabbing a notebook, journaling, filling in logs, habit tracking, they're now a foundational part of my everyday life. It's no longer just a routine activity, it's something deeply rooted and connected to who I am. And I can't get enough. That path I was looking for has grown longer and wider. And I wonder if these notebooks are a part of me, if they're an extension of my mind. I'm not sure, but I wrote this down and I often still wonder about this. So now every day starts the same, with a cup of coffee and a quiet moment with my pocket notebook, planning my day, capturing thoughts, reflecting and contemplating on my ideas and my life, since no man is free who is not a master himself. In this video, I wanted to dive into a few things: how I started journaling, what it's taught me, the systems I use now, and how this has improved almost every aspect of my life, from fitness to my creativity and all the ideas I've explored through it, and the tools and the notebooks I prefer to use. So what I began with is nothing like the system I'm using now. It was developed significantly over time. I mean, it all started relatively simply: a pen, a notebook, and some alone time. I was writing things down, often quotes and thoughts. It was a way to practice the principles I'd learned and the values and the virtues that I'd aspired to. But really, it helped purge my mind of agitation. The simple act of intentionality and focus, it really laid the foundations of improving my life. I found greater clarity on who I was, where I wanted to take my life. I realized the passions and the ideas and the topics I really wanted to explore and understand. But I mean, ultimately, I struggled, like we all do, occasionally. I was internally tormented, and it eroded away at me. It brought me down and often affected my relationships. But really, it was affecting my relationship with myself. So I found calm and peace by sort of emptying the baggage of my mind onto the paper and being able to get on with my day or sleep more soundly at night. I reflected on something that angered me quite often, and this always kept me from doing something stupid later, something I likely would have regretted. So it enabled me to think through the problem and find a path and understand all the possible consequences. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the system that I use currently. I have often 3 notebooks going at any one time: my little pocket notebooks, and then my larger notebooks, journal, habit tracker. So this little one, it's always on the go. It's in my pocket, by my bed, in my bag, on my car seat. It comes with me absolutely everywhere without fail. And unlike my phone, which is often out of battery, this never dies. It's rough and ready. My last couple have been pretty beat up. Yeah, I'm not really concerned about how it looks. I use this every day. Um, I'm not fussed what goes in or out of it. It's just I want the tool to be there. I sit down with this thing first thing in the morning to plan my day, and I reflect on it last thing at night, and then I flick through it throughout the day. It has to-do lists on there. It's awfully satisfying to see a completed to-do list. Obviously, it's not often the case, but still, I'm always striving. It pushes me to work through the next ones. Um, put any thoughts or ideas I want to explore or reflect on later, which I can then transfer into my habit tracker or my journal. I like to make jewelry, so I may have a sketch of a design that I want to do in there. I read once, and I read a quote, and I think I've put it down in here somewhere. But you just want to get the information down on paper, work on it later, refine it later. Just get the idea down. They're only as good as your ability to capture them. We're flooded with information. Everything is vying for our attention, and ideas are especially fleeting. As quickly as they come, they're gone. So it's imperative that I have this with me to get them down. Even if I do absolutely nothing with them in the short term, I have it there. I can refer back to it. I can flick to it, and I'm more likely to remember the idea if I take pen to paper. So this is crucially important. Um, let's touch a little bit on specifics. I've used some different ones, but right now I'm using Field Notes. These are by far my favorite. It's thin, it fits in all my pockets. I like the paper size, the graph paper squares. They work really well for me. It's just, I mean, it's pretty good. So it reminds me of these craft ones remind me of sort of old explorers. That's what I like about it. Anyway, still doesn't matter what it looks like. It's just about having it there. Again, I realized early on a notebook's as only good as its pen. You can make your own pen loops. I bought these. You can just stick them in. They just have an adhesive pad. I actually do reuse them occasionally. So this one's come from this notebook and I've just stuck it in there. But I feel like it has a tendency to catch my pockets, hence the beat up nature of these two. I've had to tape both of them. Maybe in time I'll have a leather cover to keep them nice and new, but for now, definitely does not matter. It's just about having it. So next, my two big notebooks, journal, habit tracker. Let's talk about the habit tracker first. It pretty much does what it says on the tin. I do care a little bit more about the content on these. I said I had a poor memory, so I like to keep my memorable moments here on this left-hand page. It does help me to reflect there, and then I keep my habits on the right-hand side here. I like to have a separate notebook for this and my journal, because you can often see you have these and then you'll have your journal entries on subsequent pages, but I'd like to be able to just flick back and reflect on this as and when. The habits, they do change, but typically they relate to my fitness, healthy eating habits, being present and creative, and obviously it's super satisfying seeing good days. Obviously we have good and bad days, but it's good to be able to have a record of that, log of that, keep track of that as days, weeks, months goes on. But I mean, really, this helps move the needle forward all the time. Goals I track here as well. Sometimes they don't plan out how I want to, but at least I have them. I'm looking for the future. I'm looking to move this needle forward all the time. So this is a really super useful tool. Some do well, some obviously don't. But again, the key is just to have this as a tool. And then my journal, again, more concerned about what goes on the pages, a bit more neater, a bit tidier. Here I just may take note any ideas I have from my pocket notebooks that don't maybe translate into here and go into more detail on any thoughts I have. I hope this has offered a good glimpse into the practice of keeping notebooks, habit tracking and journals. All I can say is it's dramatically changed my life over the last 4 or 5 years. I've seen improvements in absolutely every aspect. There's no right or wrong way to do this. This is just to really show you how I do it. Obviously I've got a deep passion for it, and I hope that it can inspire you to at least make a start. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.